Silent Hill. Silent Hill. Silent Hill.
Hello. All right, so there were some people that donated yesterday on Streamlabs, not through Super Chats, and I forgot to read those. So I'm going to do those really quick. And then, obviously the rest of them we'll do after the end of the stream. I'm going to be doing like a little bit of a game stream after we finish this. Hopefully I have enough time because I got to head to a New Year's party after that. That's No Burger. Hey, Adam, was cool seeing you at Death Grips in Atlanta. It was very surreal running into you. My question is, would you be down to act in a film? Possibly made by a fan that you got into movies back in 2016 and he owes his whole career to you. Please, moi. Are you a filmmaker? That's No Burger? It sounds like, depending on the type of character, as long as it's not like requesting a lot out of my abilities to perform, because I don't really. I think I'm good at voice acting. I don't think I'm good at acting. I would have to practice at that before I got good, if that's even possible. So, thank you, That's No Burger, for the donation. Sorry, I forgot to read it yesterday. If you have a real production and it's a real like hiring inquiry, you can message my business email and just click on the thing on the channel. You can find it. Thank you. A bunch of gift memberships from Sam MY. I didn't even know you could do that on YouTube. That's pretty cool. Thank you so much. Carrot. Hello, Adam. I highly recommend an Adam and Pals episode for Master of Disguise. Have a good New Year. Damn, you're probably right. Yeah. I will add that to the potentials. All right. And then and then I read Super Chats. Cool. So we're caught up. Because not that many people use the actual Streamlabs link. They just use the Super Chats link. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to continue doing the review stuff I was doing yesterday because I didn't finish it, and I would love to talk about Poor Things and a bunch of other stuff. So, all right, I've started the recording because some of these were going to be turned into actual fucking God, my brain sucks. Some of these are going to be turned into like an edited video. So I've started the recording here. I need to make a correction on what I sent earlier. Let me just see how that one started, just so I can match the same tone. Hold on. All right, so from this point, Global Pursuit, Kai Cenat is where we should probably start editing from. I guess I'll specify if there's things that shouldn't be in the edit. You can always ask. I'm listening. So I saw Global Pursuit, a film directed by Kai Cenat. All right, so all I need to do is change directed by. A film, sorry, I'm going to match the exact same tone. A film directed by, sorry, God, it's not directed by. A film starring Kai Cenat, posted to his YouTube channel. All right, that's probably good. Wow. All right, so out of the things that we still have left to talk about, let's see. I got my tabs open. Yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with the modern ones. Okay. So I'll do Poor Things right now. Should I do Aquaman first? I'll do Aquaman first. All right. I also saw Aquaman and editor include Johnny Depp saying the word Aquaman from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, because that's all I can hear. I think other people were talking as he said it. Still include it. It's kind of funny. I just can't get the way he said it out of my head. Aquaman. I read super chats at the end. Yes, thank you. All right, so Aquaman 1 was not a great movie, but it was at least fun, as in still bloated, still kind of boring and weird, but it was like, oh wow, this is the first DC movie, I think, where they were pretending to have fun. And it was kind of a, weird disaster, but also, you could see James Wan's directing. I'm going to change this. Aquaman 2. There we go. You could see a lot of his style. You could see him put effort into the film. You could tell that people involved were actually trying to create something. And I knew before watching Aquaman 2 that it was going to be an interesting experience because it's trying to exist in between both of these DC universes, the Snyderverse and now the James Gunn universe. And unfortunately, it just did not seem like the same passion was in this project. It did not seem like Jason Momoa cared at all. It did not seem like James Wan cared much at all. It seemed like there were probably maybe some reshoots. I don't know. Maybe not. Amber Heard did not seem to care at all. She was noticeably bad. The scientist guy who played him, let's see. What's his name? Was it Randall Park? Yeah. Randall Park was also very bad. Both him and Amber Heard stuck out in the movie as being terrible, just terrible at acting. Is Randall Park in anything good? Yeah, I can't speak for his performances on other movies. I have not seen him in anything else, so I don't think. He's been in a couple comedies, I guess, that I've seen, but I don't remember him being in them, so ugh. Mucus. It's from thinking about Aquaman. Yeah, so you can also, editor's note, be aware if I'm like repeating things, just keep one of them. You can trim down what I'm saying into a way that's more simple and serviceable. Pass that note along to the other editor because I'm assuming you'll both be working on different parts. So yeah, I'm saying that in reference to me. I'm going to like simplify this comment about Randall Park and Amber Heard. Both Randall Park and Amber Heard's performances were just terrible. They stuck out in the movie, and nobody was doing a particularly great job, so it was kind of embarrassing that they were sticking out so much. The very beginning of the movie, the editing is already atrocious. I'm going to put spoiler discussion at the bottom here, actually. They have this they have an opening monologue that I guess they're trying to use to set the tone of the rest of the film for, and they're trying to be like super epic, and he's like, everyone's good at something. Want to know something else? I'm good at one thing, kicking butt. But the way it was edited was like how my reviews are edited. Like there was no space between the sentences. But this is a movie, and it's theoretically supposed to be an opening monologue, and I just don't understand why they didn't let anything breathe. It was weirdly fast. It was very jarring. And before I could think about it any further, the song "Born to..." Oh, I'm gonna do that take again. And before I could think about it any further, the song "Born to Be Wild" started playing, and I was like, "Oh, well, I guess we're doing this now." And we got a montage, and he's a dad now, and there's a baby, and the baby pees on his face. And then he's like, "Well, I won't let that happen again." And then Amber Heard uses her water bending powers to bend the baby's pee into his face. And she laughs about it. She's like, "Tee hee, I put baby piss in your face." I'm not making that up. That was all within this montage. Um, there was a lot of Guinness product placements. I could count at least 3 of them in entirely different scenes, entirely different tones and moods and contexts. Some of them verbal. There was a scene of Aquaman walking through the jungle with his brother, and he's like, "When this is all done, I'm going to have something and a nice pint of Guinness. Yeah." Refreshing, crisp pint of Guinness. And, they're just littered throughout every set, basically. Just cans of Guinness cheated out towards the audience. Damn, I'm glad I went to sleep and came back, because I'm getting back into the mood here. Oh yeah. There's like really sad music over the line. You got to give your baby a sibling, because they'll have no friends growing up. They gotta have a sibling, otherwise they'll be an only child. And the music's like, such a sad, serious thing. That was funny. A huge chunk of the movie is just kind of blue balling buildup, but not even blue balling, because blue balling implies that you're actually excited for something, that you're like ready, and it just never delivers. Whereas this, it's just the least exciting sort of buildup imaginable. It's implied buildup. It's like, oh, we're building up to something, but it's not even exciting. It's not even intriguing in the slightest. This movie reminded me a lot of Valerian and the 1000th Planet, and the thousands planets. There were a lot of fish people. There were like clubs and a bunch of characters and some devices that would just get introduced and used immediately and then ignored for the rest of the film. Aquaman had a camouflage suit that did not cover his face or hands, but it made his whole body invisible anyway, not just where the suit was over. So I don't know how that worked. Euclidean Kennedy, I answered that super chat at the beginning of this stream because you donated on the Streamlabs thing, and I forgot to read them last night, so I read them at the beginning of this one. So sorry that you donated twice, but if it's a serious like job offer, I guess, then you can email my business email. Thank you, I appreciate it. If it's like a serious inquiry. But yeah, scroll back to the... You don't have to apologize for donating twice. It's okay. No need to apologize. All right. Yeah, it reminded me of Valerian. The there were talking crab people. One of them was Gimli, and one of them was Martin Short. So we had a Lord of the Rings crab people, I guess, and a lot of things in the movie actually reminded me of Lord of the Rings. There was like a big bad villain who's like going to be awoken by a slumber because the bad guy who wears the bug mask, the black guy, he's like, I want revenge on Aquaman. Remember, he made me sad, and uh, he finds a trident, but the trident is black. Include the clip from the trailer, note to editor, because there's definitely a part in the trailer where they're like, a black trident. In one of the trailers, they definitely say something like that. I found it funny. And so he uses the trident, and the trident gives him power. And it's like, you're basically like venomed now, even though like not visually, I guess, but just spiritually. And if he venoms so hard, there's global warming, and the ice is going to melt the villain out. He's trapped in the ice, the Lord of the Rings villain, and he's going to be unmelted. He's going to be melted, unfrozen too, and that would be bad. But the black guy trusts that this Lord of the Rings villain will live up to his end of the bargain and give him like power overwhelming, I guess. There's a lot of CG nonsense in this movie with no point or purpose. It kind of just blends into itself. There's a lot of action scenes, and none of them are exciting. None of them are engaging. It's all just a bunch of like, oh, wow, I can see the money on the screen. That's some money that you spent here. And it's not for anything. It's not money that is spent for any like good reason. A lot of action scenes that are allegedly supposed to feel exciting, but only wind up feeling exhausting. Some of the underwater effects do look great, like some of the machines and textures underwater, just only in a couple shots. Most of it's not convincing, but there were a couple shots where I'm like, damn, that looks like pretty realistic. The lighting was just right on some of the shots. So some not bad effects work overall, I guess, but there were some buff shark people, and they had abs. Those were cool. There was a fish guy that was like, I don't know, like a king or something maybe. He seemed like a Star Wars character. And they interrogate him, and they put on a diving helmet, and they slowly start filling it up with air so that he'll drown because he's a fish. And you could see maybe on paper someone would think, oh, that's a funny idea, but it's just by the point it happens in the movie, it's already just so exhausting, and it's not delivered very well. Like why doesn't the fish guy continue trying to pull it off with his fins or hands or whatever? I don't know. Why doesn't he? It seems like he's not spending a lot of energy actually trying to solve the situation or get out of that. He's just kind of letting Aquaman turn the dial up and fill it with air. There were some giant grasshopper creatures. They're on an island. It was kind of like a King Kong island, I guess. There's a bunch of big bugs. There's a desert scene. There's a bunch of different set pieces, but they're all just so forgettable, and they all feel so recycled, and they all feel so derivative. It's like a bunch of different movies in this movie, and none of them special. None of them adding anything new to cinema. Because he had no hands at him. What are you talking? He tried once. I could see some appendages go like this for like the first 3 seconds, and then he stopped. He didn't have no hands. I'm not gonna read chat. Fuck you. Sorry. I'm sorry. All right. You're distracting me. I'm gonna read my notes instead. There were killer plants. There was they were chased, and then Aquaman saw a sign, and it said, "True kings build bridges." And so he kicks over the statue and makes a bridge out of it, even though that's not what the sign meant. And his brother's like, "It was a metaphor," but it worked out anyway. And then they reincorporate that back at the end of the movie because it's very important. Because he builds bridges. He's a true king, right? It was a metaphor for at the end when he's like, "See, the Aqua people and the regular humans that don't like 90s, 2000s house music people, we can get along. We could all be bros." To stop global warming was what they were saying at the end. Is to people get together to stop global warming. I definitely wrote the words "so sleepy" in my notes more than once. The second time with a lot of O's and a lot of E's. There's a scene where the Randall Park Dr. Park, he's spilling the beans on the operation, being like, it wasn't me. You help me. And then just random characters explode from out of the wall behind him, just like the explosion from behind, like that's how they enter. Is just an immediate explosion through the door, and then it sends Aquaman flying, and Aquaman says, "I hate when that happens." And most people watching that would be, what is he? They would be like, "What does he mean by that? Why? What does he mean by that?" But as a true Kino fan of the first Aquaman, who I've seen it twice, it's a reference to the common criticism of the first movie about how everybody just exploded out of a wall in the first movie. That happened like 4 or 5 times in the first movie. It was like how they ended every scene, with somebody exploding through a wall, or how they got to the next scene. They would start a new scene, just be like, "Well, we're having a conversation here," and then it's an action scene, like, "I'm just coming out of a wall, exploding." So it was a reference to the first film, and almost kind of like a tongue-in-cheek criticism, like, "Ooh, we're self-deprecating. See, we get it." But that joke was probably lost on most people, but I got it because I'm smarter. This movie couldn't decide on a tone. I'm not sure what it was trying to be. I'm gonna have to put everybody on BRB because I gotta poop really bad and I got a stomach problem right now, so I'm sorry. TMI, but I'll put on some BRB music and I'll come back. John, 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 John.
Whoa, you're talking to the big cat. Oh, whoa, here comes the big cat. Oh, whoa, you're fucking with the big cat. Oh, whoa, here comes the... Fundamental switch up break you when I ain't over sure. When I lay to the base, gotta be to the base, the face that it might be too hard. This tiger too far, it's all in the sky. Gotta be burning hard. You're looking like a boat, snap these claws off for scratching. You got a tiger by the tail and I can see your reaction at the slasher. Hit with the tiger style, hit with the tiger style, hit with the tiger style, hit it with the tiger style.
Silent Hill. Silent Hill. Silent Hill. Silent Hill.
She slurping. Oh my god, she slurping. Oh my god, she slurping. Oh my god, she slurping on my nuts. She slurping on my nuts. She still slurping on my nuts. She slurping on my nuts. She slurping on my nuts. Listen for my dick, that's perfect. Tongue on my nuts, that's perfect. Hey, pull up with a brand new Birkin. What? Throw a couple bands, she twerking. Goddamn. Pull up with a friend, she flirting. Whore. Dig up in her mouth, I'm certain. She gon' take it all, I'm worth it. Yeah. On it and she can't stop slurping. Oh my god. I just bagged your chick and she still slurping. I just took a shit and she still slurping. I just bust a nut and she still slurping. Put it in her butt and she still slurping. Pull up in a whip, no tent, you can see me getting sucked to the window. Man, even her friends know. Shawty throw it back, I'ma catch her running straight to the end zone. I be breaking her back off, I don't want the pussy, I'm just trying to get blown like some endo. Can't fuck with no bimbo, needed me a freak on my nuts, getting low like it's limbo. She slurping. Slurp it up. I just bagged your chick and she still slurping. I just took a shit and she still slurping. I just bust a nut and she still slurping. Put it in her butt and she still slurping. Listen around my dick, that's perfect. Tongue on my nuts, that's perfect. Pull up with a brand new Birkin. Throw a couple bands, she twerking. Goddamn. Pull up with a friend, she flirting. Whore. Dig up in her mouth, I'm certain. She gon' take it all, I'm worth it. Yeah. On it and she can't stop slurping. She slurping on my nuts, slurping on my nuts. My dick is a gun, I'ma let it bust. Put it in her ear, now she cannot hear. Put it in her rear, then I disappear. Pull up in a whip, no tent, you can see me getting sucked through the window. Man, even her friends know. Shawty throw it back, I'ma catch her running straight to the end zone. I be breaking her back off, I don't want the pussy, I'm just trying to get blown like some endo. Can't fuck with no bimbo, needed me a freak on my nuts, getting low like it's limbo. She slurping. Slurp it up. I just bagged your chick and she still slurping. I just took a shit and she still slurping. I just bust a nut and she still slurping. Put it in her butt and she still slurping.
Omar, knock that shit off. Knock that shit off. Knock that shit off.
Slurp it up, go. Slurp it up.
Oh, hello.
Slurp it up, go. Slurp it up, go. Slurp it up, go. Slurp it up, go.
That is Shofu. Yes. All right. Sorry about the wait. I feel awful. But we're going to continue because it's the last day of the year. Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Whew. All right. I think it might be American food. That's the problem. Anyway, can't decide on a tone. I was saying that. Oh, yeah. So, let me just catch my breath. I just ran downstairs to get a drink, hoping that that might help. Ugh. Well, Also, I did have Waffle House today. That's probably that might be the culprit. It was delicious, but very American food. All right, I'm gonna mention a couple specific things, and then just kind of go into. Oh my god. Yeah. Actually, I'll just do this in order in my notes. So I was mentioning that. I will read those at the end. Thank you. Sorry, my brain is fried. We're trying our best. We're trying our best here. So with this film being the last of the Snyderverse, it is quite the unceremonious swan song. It doesn't even try to feel like an ending of the universe. And, you know, even with the Flash, how do I say this? In the Flash movie that came out earlier this year, they had a post-credits scene of Aquaman, and it was literally, and the entire reason why that post-credits scene existed is so that they could say, oh, actually, he still exists in this universe, because the Flash reset the universe, and that was their excuse for having a new universe. It was like, oh, okay, so we have the Snyderverse, and then we did a multiverse story in the Flash, and now it's going to be the James Gunn universe, and that was their kind of explanation. And then they're like, oh wait, we still have an Aquaman movie coming out. We should have a post-credits scene to let people know that it's not a waste of time to see the new Aquaman movie, and that it's not leading towards nothing. And it's actually in both universes. See, Aquaman is in both universes. You can still buy a ticket to the movie, please. And I guess they just lied, because they don't even hint at anything in the James Gunn universe, as far as I know. I was expecting some kind of post-credits in Aquaman being like, ooh, are you excited for this new thing that's happening in the James Gunn universe? I was expecting something like that, but instead it was just fucking Patrick Wilson eating a cockroach in a burger, and that was like, oh, that's funny, because he likes it. And that's it. So it should have, it had the option to either get us excited about some games, John. It had the option to either get us excited about some game. I'm saying it again. It had the option to either get us excited about the James Gunn universe, or have an actual ending to the Snyderverse and be like, oh, you know, not even, they don't even have to wrap everything up. They can just make it seem like they're acknowledging that it's the end. They could just make it seem like they know, but they didn't know, because there's no plan for this whole fucking IP. Warner Brothers doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. I think they were just hoping that this was successful enough that they could just continue it. I don't think there will be another James Momoa Aquaman unless there's like a small cameo in like fucking 10 or 20 years, like the Nicolas Cage Superman in the Flash or whatever. I don't think anybody involved with Aquaman 2 is expecting to make an Aquaman 3. So that was kind of funny and annoying. They lied to get us to buy tickets to the movie, and not that many people did anyway, so go fuck yourselves. So because Aquaman has a baby, the bad guy kidnaps the baby. There's a scene where Aquaman's dad is looking after the baby, and then it cuts to the house being on fire because the villain was there, and the dad's like crying outside. And You know, we could have had 5 seconds where we believed that maybe the baby was in danger. We could have had like 5 or 10 seconds where we were like, "Oh, what's happened to the baby?" Like cut to the house on fire and not know what's happened to the baby. And then the dad saying, "He's been kidnapped by the bad guy." That was a possibility, but instead, the bad guy as he is showing up says, "I'm going to keep the baby alive so that Aquaman can see him die later." So literally before there's even a fraction of a second to think that the baby might be in danger or to not know whether or not the baby's in danger, the villain just says out loud, "The baby is not currently in danger." Because that would be too scary for parents in the audience. And we live in a baby supremacist society. If you want to know who controls society, look to who you cannot criticize, and that is babies. We are experiencing a massive baby supremacist uprising in the United States, and I'm here to fight back against it. We need to stop the babyriarchy. The babyriarchy. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna leave you alive. He says as he shows up to the scene. Okay. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, there's a part where whales show up and they use their sonar to blow up people in the ship. And that was just a short thing that happened, and then just move on to the next thing, and nothing feels super connected. There's a shot of Aquaman right before the big crab daddy Gimli puts on his helmet, and Aquaman says, "Thank you, Your Highness," and then swims away. But in that shot, he's like entirely CG. Like every other shot of Aquaman in the movie, it's live action filmed face just composited onto, you know, whatever, maybe add some CG hair, throw him in the CG universe. But it was a real actor. But in that shot, he was entirely CG. It was like the Flash. It was like the Chrono Bowl scene in the Flash, and it was really obvious. And I was like, why is that a thing? Am I not streaming on Twitch anymore? I will be streaming on Twitch doing games in a second. I'm just doing my fucking thing here. Just hold on. Sorry, I shouldn't be reading chat. All right. I'm trying to finish these reviews. Okay, and then this is my last page of notes here. Yep, the movie just kind of ends really awkwardly. All of the characters are standing on top of an iceberg, and none of them look cold, and none of them look like they were filmed on the same day. They're all just kind of standing awkwardly apart from each other. Patrick Wilson just dives into the water. Doesn't seem cold. He's fine. And the movie's over, and it was really shit and not worth not worth watching. Wasn't even ironically bad ironically good. I mean, like the first one. Wasn't even fun to watch like the first one in any ironic or unironic way. It was just, wow, this is a bland movie and it looks like nobody cared. That's the big difference between the two Aquaman films, is that the first one, it seemed like people cared. And even though it was bad, there was some interesting stuff about it, and now nobody cared, and it was not interesting at all. 2 out of 10 for this film. All right. I'm going to talk about Poor Things, which I'm just going to say right now I highly recommend. So if you don't want to be spoiled for this movie, mute the stream until the title changes, and you'll see, oh, he's not talking about Poor Things anymore. I can unmute the stream. Okay? So it's a spoiler discussion for Poor Things right now. Ugh. Excuse me. Poor Things is the newest film by director Yorgos Lanthimos, who is Greek, I believe. Let's see. I'm just going to assume he's Greek. Fuck it. He's Greek. This is the same director as The Favorite, which was nominated for and won a bunch of Oscars. This is the same director as The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is a movie I really love that a lot of people hate for some reason. Not a lot, but the people who don't like it seem to really not like it. The Lobster, which I also love. Dogtooth, which I also really love. And this newest film, Poor Things, I've only seen it once, but it might honestly be my favorite of his films. I have been thinking about it a lot since I saw it about a week ago. And I really want more people to see it because it is an incredible, challenging, but satisfying and meaningful experience. Essentially, spoiler discussion. Willem Dafoe plays a deformed genius surgeon. And what year is it set? In Victorian London, it says on Wikipedia. I don't know if it gave us an exact year, but it's set in Victorian London. Yeah. All right. And he is a surgeon that experiments a lot and does crazy things that if you saw this, he is a surgeon that experiments a lot and does crazy sort of mad scientist things. He combines different animals together, and the way that it works in this film is just you just accept it as a matter of fact thing, because the effects work going into making it look like these, pug head, duck body, or like pig head, other animal body monsters. It looks really convincing. And the entire film is so comedic and intentionally absurdist that there's no point in trying to question the logic and ask questions about how they digest food or how they make certain noises and why, do they have both vocal cords of both animals, or, like, it's not worth asking those questions because the movie is well aware of how absurd it is. It is operating on a different plane of logic, on a different plane of existence. It is its own universe that it is presenting. And this is further exemplified by how intentionally, stylized the sets and especially the skies in this film are. There's a lot of beautiful skies in this movie, and it might seem too lucky for real photography, but it wasn't real photography. They did some kind of effects work. It kind of seemed like ink in water, but I don't think that's what it was. But that's what it reminded me of, and it's such an incredibly beautiful and distinct and artful way of showing the universe of this film that it's just a joy to look at, and it sticks in your mind, and it paints a lovely picture. Oh, you found out it was LEDs? What did they film in the fucking Mandalorian room or something? Well, whatever. I'm not going to fact check this. I'm just trying to do my year-end quickie catch-up, okay? Immediately from the first shot of this film, it's incredibly visually striking. The use of color in this film is also incredible. There's, some black and white scenes, but also when there is color, it's very vibrant. Each setting, each chapter, each sequence has a unique color palette that it brings that makes it visually distinct from the previous one. Looking at my notes here. Oh my God. Another thing apparent from the moment that it enters the film is how incredible the score is. Immediately from its first existence, just appearing in the film for the first time, I was like, holy shit, this is a new sound that I haven't heard before, and it works for the film, and it sounds great. It's well composed. It fits like a puzzle piece. Essentially, they wind up creating a sound. They wind up making a sound that reminds me of harp strings, but has the same sort of pitch twang that you would expect to find on an acoustic guitar or even a slide guitar. And the root notes of each chord are not twanged, so they are one consistent note, but the melodic notes that play at the same frequency as the root notes, the top notes of the chord, I don't know if I'm getting all the terminology correct, but any music person will know what I'm trying to say at least. The top notes of the chord are incorrect, essentially, by a semitone. And before the next note in the chord is played, they correct themselves. So they go, boing, 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 boing. Not every single one of those notes, but a good chunk of them, and only the top notes, whereas the root notes on the bottom stay a consistent note without the twang, without the variation in pitch, just going like bum, 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 bum. Let's see if I was in the right key from memory. Let's see. I'm going to find the Poor Things soundtrack because it's so distinct. I have not searched up the Poor Things soundtrack at all. I saw the movie once, like a week ago, and I remember how the soundtrack goes, which is great. That's a great thing to experience in a movie where it's infectious in a positive way that's not annoying. And I'm just constantly appreciating how the soundtrack was used and how it was composed. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see, what track is it? I got the same pitch and everything. Yeah, this is awesome. That's how well I remember it. That's how distinct it is. That's how great it is. Incredible score. And I was told by somebody on my Patreon hangout that this is actually the first score that they've made. So I'm just going to fact check that. Music by Jerskin Fendrix. So it is not their first score, but it might be their first film. So they released score for a play and some other stuff, but they're not like a world-renowned Oscar-nominated composer or anything, so very impressive. Just absolutely incredible. I hope that this wins at the Oscars. I hope it even gets nominated. Unfortunately, it seems like this movie might be a little too edgy for the Oscars because it does deal with some very disturbing concepts and it does present things in a very disturbing way in terms of tone. Uh, Willem Dafoe takes a woman who committed suicide, a pregnant woman, finds her fresh body, takes the surviving baby's brain and puts it in the dead woman's skull. And the movie is essentially following Emma Stone playing this adult-bodied woman with a baby brain. So a child in in an adult's body. And a huge chunk of the movie is dedicated towards her discovering sex and being addicted to it, but also seeing the world through the eyes of a child. And you see her learning in as the movie goes on. You can see her growing up, I guess, mentally, but not physically. It's like a coming of age story, but only based on what she says and the way she talks. So immediately there's going to be people that just associate this movie with, I don't know, just like, I don't know. It's very controversial in concept, but unlike a lot of other movies that have tried to explore sexuality, and even with this there's no other movie like this. There's no other story like this. I guess it's based on a book. Well, there's no other screenplay like this that I can think of, but there's other films that have tried to explore sexuality that have done it in a way that seems pornographic or perverted. Whereas even though there's a lot of sex in this movie and there's a lot of nudity in this movie and it's very explicit, it feels so much more purposeful and meaningful. It feels like there's a great narrative and emotional excuse to explore these ideas. And, despite it being a male director and being pretty sexually explicit and sometimes feeling pornographic, it does have a lot of recurring feminist themes that it does wrap the movie up with over the course of the film. And I found myself what's funny is it kind of explicitly talks about ideas, feminist ideas, like literally just saying out loud that in general there's a certain type of man that feels like they need to control things. And that there's like a male idea of the need to control and see women as property and control women, et cetera, et cetera. But the way it's explored in this film, it doesn't feel like some shitty, childish, pandering, feminist lecture. It's not a preachy movie. It's a movie where it makes sense for the character to be exploring this and experiencing this, and she's seeing the world unfiltered through the eyes of a child. And so she's constantly questioning and challenging what's the word? Ideas that other people in society are already just used to and conditioned to expect. So she'll go to a dinner and just be like, "Oh, I have to pretend to like this? Like, what's the concept of being polite?" she gets essentially addicted to sex and is like, why don't people just do this all the time, sort of thing. She is someone who is experiencing the world without doing so in a way that is socially conscious. It's almost kind of like a extreme autism movie, but it works really well, and it forces the viewers to engage with these subjects and these ideas, but not in a way that feels condescending at all, in the slightest. And it's done very comedically. It's done very meaningfully. It's done even emotionally. There's like a huge range of emotions in this film, and it hits each of them so well. So much of it is so satirical and ironic. And when it needs to be sad, and when it needs to bring things back to a deeper, more meaningful message, it does so without tripping over itself. It does so without falling flat on its face. And I was reminded, speaking of the feminist themes, this literally showed up today. This is a terrible movie, Black Christmas. 2019. I watched the trilogy for the podcast. My podcast, Sardonicast, that I do with Alex from I Ate Everything. And we talked about how funny it was. Jesus, is this missing a disc? Why is this? It's missing the Blu-ray! I just opened, it's literally missing. It only has the DVD. I have to return this. Fuck. I only wanted the Blu-ray. You fucking assholes. Jesus, that's the first time that's ever happened to me, live on stream. Just a missing disc, and you saw me open it. Wow. I'm gonna have to return that. Shit. I wanted to rip the Blu-ray and listen to the commentary track and see how demented it was. That's why I got the Blu-ray. And because it's funny as fuck. I found that movie very funny, as in not in a way that it was supposed to feel. Anyway, Black Christmas 2019 is the most immature, baby-brained attempt at feminist conversation that I've maybe ever seen in any movie. It is endlessly preachy. It doesn't serve any other purpose but to preach. It is literally just an entire seminar. And the way that they present ideas in the film, it gives the impression that they don't even understand what reality is. They don't know how the world works. They are in some insanely small bubble. And for them to even release that, they have to be absolutely demented and not understand anything about society or genders. It comes from a completely unempathetic perspective. Terrible, terrible, terrible movie, but very funny because of how bad it is. There are some of the same messages or some of the same ideas in Poor Things, but just handled in a much more intelligent, respectful, meaningful, artful way. Black Christmas is a film that essentially says men want to control everything, and all men are trying to control all women to do blah, 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 blah. This film touches on those ideas, and it raises questions, and it has a character experience, real but also not real, also very absurdist situations, and still manages to explore those same ideas and concepts, but just not make it seem like whoever wrote it was a child. It feels like whoever wrote this, which I guess Yorgos and whoever wrote the book, It feels like they're functioning, intelligent adults capable of having conversations about societal issues. And I'm talking a lot about these societal issues within the context of this movie. That's not even really the bulk of the movie. It's not a preachy movie in the slightest. It just has themes, and it delivers those themes incredibly well. I haven't even gotten to like almost anything in my notes. I've just been talking from memory. So you'll notice every single other review that I've recorded for this Quickie Catchup, I'm like, I say a thing, and then I like just go back to my book. I'm like, okay, next note. All right, and then I'm like, okay, what else do I talk about? I've just been endlessly talking about this movie. I've been thinking about it and engaging with it and excited to talk about it without even really looking at my notes. Just reminded me of the score, reminded me of the, like, there's so much I want to talk about with this. It's so incredible, and it's in theaters right now, so please, everybody watch it. Easily top 3 of the year. Probably top 2. It might be my favorite movie of the year, honestly. I want to see it again the soonest. It might be better than Zone of Interest for me. Maybe. They're both very different movies. They're both very different tones. So in Yorgos Lanthimos' previous film, The Favorite, he used some kind of fisheye lens. He used some fisheye lenses, some very interesting perspective, warped kind of feeling lenses, only in a couple shots throughout the movie. I think it was like 4 shots, and they were transitionary. I remember like a horse carriage scene and the camera was moving, and, you know, just kind of this weird, like, almost unfitting. And I love The Favorite. It's a great movie, but the experimentation with those lenses, I'm not sure matched with the entire aesthetic of the film, because other than those few shots, it's a movie where you kind of forget, or like it would benefit you to forget about the fact that you're watching a movie. It's a movie that isn't so style heavy and aggressively style heavy that it wouldn't feel distracting. So I wasn't sure about that choice in The Favorite. But in this film, it is so frequent, and the set design and use of color and every other aspect of the film is also so aggressively stylized that whenever we see the weird perspective angles and the fisheye lenses and all of these incredibly striking choices for the visual style of this movie, it fits. It works with the film. It doesn't feel conflicting. The entire movie just feels like, oh my God, this feels like you're drunk or something. It feels like you're high. It feels like a trip. And it's disorienting, but in a good way. So despite it being a period piece, it is so heavily stylized that it doesn't take away with it. It is so heavily stylized that it doesn't take away from it. Unlike maybe The Favorite. I have to watch it for a second time to see if I really still find that to be a criticism. But I remember watching The Favorite and being like, why does this look like a skateboard video? Just like at random points in the movie, and it wasn't consistent. So that, yeah, I don't know. It was confusing, but incredible cinematography overall. There are transitionary sequences, title sequences that bring in each chapter of the film, and they essentially create a moving painting, different imaginative idea of the character kind of like falling or riding on like an ocean of like a brain and like a whale and teeth, and like almost like some weird art piece photography just for these title sequences. And the font choice of the movie is the same font as as RM Brown's thumbnails on YouTube. Not that he invented that. I know there's some young people that think he did, but he did not invent that style. RM Brown, great channel. Everybody check that out. That's on YouTube. It's a good cult that I'm a part of. I'm a part of the muscular class. We are looking for new members. Let's see. All right, we are passing page 1 of my notes, and I've talked about this like for probably longer than Aquaman. Aquaman. There's just one problem. Sell the houses to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman. All right. Yeah, a lot of really extreme angles in this film. Some really great editing choices as well. There was a soft, slow fade of her sleeping, then just her sleeping on a bed and it fading into a shot of a map. And as her head fades out of one spot on the screen, a finger just abruptly enters the frame right where her head was and just whoosh. And I just felt excited about that editing choice. I was like, holy crap, I'm caught off guard by something. And then I started thinking about that thematically. I'm like, okay, well, you know, she's kind of, well, depending on how you define her as a person, like, is she the mom or the baby or both? You know, like, she's kind of like self-harming, or, you know, there's attention paid to her head, like the mind, the skull, right? I don't know. There's more things to think about. I don't know how intentional that shot was visually towards trying to get at deeper ideas in the film. All I know is that it worked super well for me visually, artistically, pacing, editing, sound. It was a great choice, and the timing of it was just so well refined. You could tell that someone really cared in the editing process for this film. Nothing felt like it lingered on for too long. Everything felt super cohesive and like it was a perfectly fitting piece of a greater whole project. Ooh. Mark Ruffalo is in this movie, and I'm usually not really excited to see him in anything. Not that I hate him, but he's never really wowed me, and he's never been a great barometer for whether or not a movie is good. He's appeared in some great movies. He was in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, one of the best movies ever. But he was also like the Hulk, you know? He also just shows up in a bunch of random projects. This movie might be my favorite performance from him. Maybe I haven't seen his best performance, but this would maybe be worth an Oscar nomination if the Oscars aren't scared of nominating this movie for anything. He did a fucking fantastic job. He was very fun to watch, very comedic performance. It felt like a character that was entirely distinct from other characters that he's played. Great job, Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, the structure of this story is so interesting, and it feels like a fairy tale adventure. It feels like kind of a Pinocchio type movie. Uh, she travels to different places and learns different things along the way, meets different characters. But this is debatably more disturbing, more dark, definitely a lot better written than Pinocchio. Emma Stone's performance is fantastic. I love what she did with this character. I love how she portrayed the character. It never felt like it was in poor taste, like an offensive caricature of like a mentally disabled person or anything. She did a really thoughtful job, despite the character being portrayed in such a comedic and ironic way. Despite a lot of it being for laughs, it never felt misplaced. It never felt cringe. There's a great line where she says, "I must go punch that baby." That was a good part. I want to know what the hell was up with Willem Dafoe vomiting bubbles, like, and making like a frog noise. That was interesting. That happened like 2 or 3 times. Ooh, here's a note that I wrote down. The style of this movie feels like if you mixed Terry Gilliam and Lars von Trier. I feel like that's a pretty good comparison. I was reminded of both of them, but it's still something unique. It is still not like, oh, you're just trying to be those things. It just reminded me of those things in a good way. It was a perfect blend while still retaining Lanthimos and his style. Ooh, one of my favorite scenes is Mark Ruffalo trying to murder a lady. That's a fantastic scene. Very memorable, very comedic, lots of genuine laughs, and honestly, just an entire movie of being in awe at what they're presenting in a very positive and a very exciting way. I love watching films where I'm actively engaged. I don't have to force myself to pay attention to it. I am just so impressed and stimulated by the thought and detail and passion and coordination and planning that went into this film that it's impossible to look away. It's impossible to think of other things while I'm watching the film. It earns your attention and was absolutely captivating throughout. I do want to see it again, for sure. I honestly can't think of anything that I don't like about it. I'm trying to think of a single gripe or a single issue that I had, and I don't think I have one. There are many different characters in this film. They are all very memorable. They are all very fun to watch. They all serve a unique purpose in the story and tie things together in a meaningful way. I love that Christopher Abbott was in this movie because he's kind of been underrated in my mind for a while. He did a film called James White that nobody saw, and it was really good, and he starred in it. And he's been getting roles in smaller kind of like indie festival movies for a while. And I'm hoping that this is what puts him on the map and gets him into bigger projects, because I've always really enjoyed his work, and he is great in this film as well. Very intimidating, very scary character. Just every concept and personality that is explored in this film it doesn't feel hollow. It doesn't feel obligatory. It feels like it's included for some greater purpose, for some passion from the people who created this film. From a greater sense of passion, from a unique passion from the creators of this film. The makeup was also incredible. Basically, every filmmaking element that you can name is one where clearly talented people were involved. It's really impressive how Yorgos manages to find all of this talent, or I guess casting, production managers, etc. The people that he works with manage to find all of this talent, and everybody is working their hardest. Everybody is putting their soul into the project and believes in it. It's just a great thing to see. It is probably the best movie you could see in theaters right now. There is nothing else like it. It is different, but not for the sake of being different. It is weird, not just to be weird. It is not a Quentin Dupieux film. This is something that actually holds some emotional resonance, and every choice that is made in this film is done so in an intelligent and useful way. So I'm giving this film an easy 9 out of 10. And it will probably get a 10, honestly, on my second watch. I could see it like easily getting a 10. I just want to see it again. It's like in my mind right now, and I want to make time to see it again because it is just fucking incredible. I want to free up some time to see it. Love this movie. Couldn't recommend it enough. Probably my favorite of the year, honestly. I think it's my number one. I think I like it better than Zone of Interest and Hundreds of Beavers. The fact that I could remember the score, the on pitch, the exact score after only seeing the movie once, like that's such a good sign. That's such a good sign of like a really sticky movie. There's a stickiness. It have a sticky quality, and I go, oh yeah, that's sticky. Editor's note, you can find the clip I'm referencing in the first 5 minutes of my After Earth YMS video. It is M. Night talking about stickiness. Okay, and so I'm going to talk about one more thing here before doing some game stuff and then calling it a night. I think I'm going to abandon... Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff that I didn't talk about, but is not from 2023, and we're just kind of like rewatches. Why don't I just give some quick, like 1-sentence reviews for these other things? Yeah, I'll give like a 1-sentence review for a couple other things or whatever. All right. I watched Jackass Shark Week. Very stretched out, very... if you already love Jackass, then it's worth watching. It was like a promotional thing for Jackass 4 that they put on whatever network does Shark Week, I forget. It was definitely not a Jeff Tremaine joint. It was just the crew, the Jackass people that you know and love. And they were over dramatizing everything, and it was like, oh, it's so dangerous. And they would replay the same shots over and over again and really stretch things out for 45 minutes and pretend like things were a lot more intense than they were. And then finally at the end, some cool stuff happened. But just overall, like, watch it once and then you're done, I guess. 4 out of 10 for that one. I watched Jackass Shark Week 2.0. It was better. It was better. It was less stretched out. They had more interesting segments and stunts. It was just like better presented and a little longer. So that's kind of shocking too. They fixed a couple things about it. Yeah, it was more digestible. 5 out of 10 for Jackass Shark Week 2.0. I watched 9 Lives 2016, Kevin Spacey. I found it to be hilarious and bad and just constantly wondering, who's this for? Is it a kid's movie? I'm not sure. Everyone's drinking in every scene. There's like a lot of alcoholism in the movie. Is this a kid's movie? Who the hell is this for? Who funded this? Why would anybody want to be a part of it? They obviously spent a lot of money on it. CG cat. And the CG doesn't look bad for 2016 at all. People say it's bad CG. I don't even think so. You must hate animators. You must not understand the 12 principles of animation. Did you study the 12 principles of animation? You can't think something looks bad. I can only think something looks good, and that's everything. Yeah, it's a bad movie, but for 2016, that's like, I thought it was pretty good CG. For 2016, it's confusing as fuck and just terrible movie. And I saw Keanu, and that's pretty much the only reason I brought up 9 Lives right now, is because this movie was fucking horrendous. This movie fucking sucked, and I was so bored by it. I did watch-alongs for both of these. I was losing my fucking mind. This is easily a movie that I would have just shut off within 10 minutes and wouldn't have experienced anything different. There's a movie that I am forcing myself to try and pay attention to. It is impossible. It is like just, Key and Peele are doing their skits, except it's not a good skit. It's one of their misses, and it goes on for an hour and 40 minutes. The cat is not even really in the movie. It's basically Kangaroo Jack marketing. It's not about the cat. The cat's on the poster. The name of the cat is the movie. It's not about the cat at all. It's just Key and Peele doing their usual, like, we're banter. Do we have to pretend to be more black? We're black guys, but we kind of act white. Let's pretend to be more black in front of these characters that are gangsters because we're not. And it's just that for the whole movie. I love Tiffany Haddish. She was good. She's great. I actually just like seeing her in general. Yeah, fucking absolutely atrocious. People defend this movie without realizing that they have not even thought about it since 2016. And I just reminded you that this movie fucking existed. So think about that for a second. Nobody's talking about it anymore. The cinematography is god awful. Every shot looks the exact same. It's just like fucking chest high, like it's they just brought the same crew from their TV show, obviously, but pretended to make a movie, and it's just embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing, terribly written. I would way sooner watch 9 Lives than this film. I would never see it again. I shouldn't have finished it. I gained nothing from this experience, but I'm giving it the same rating, 2 out of 10. Keanu sucks, stinks, bad. I saw Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for the first time. And automobiles. And It was good. I could see why it was a classic. If I were to think of like buddy comedies where one person's really annoying and the other person's just annoyed by them, this certainly isn't at the top, but I can see how it inspired a lot. I can see how it inspired a lot of these types of films. There are some great shots in it. I love the shot of them like frozen in the back of the truck and the dog. Like I've seen that turned into a GIF. That's just like it's perfect. That's a great moment. There are some let's see. I wrote some notes here. Oh yeah, the soundtrack sucks. It is so fucking dated. This movie is not escaping the feeling of 1987. In fact, it feels like the early 80s. It feels like older than 87. The cinematography is not great. It doesn't feel like motivated in any particular way. It doesn't feel like artful in how it's presenting things. It literally just, not as bad as Keanu's cinematography, but just like a standard, like, taking a paycheck. John Hughes, not his best film, but still good. Oh god, the robbery scene with the knife in the door, that was fucking stupid. That didn't make any sense. And it didn't lead to a whole lot. They could have used a different excuse. I didn't think the writing was great with that. Yeah, Steve Martin is definitely the weaker of the two. John Candy is the more entertaining character, and just Steve Martin's character is just kind of annoying. It's not great following him as a lead. Still, the film works for what it is. It's not like a super serious movie. It's only 93 minutes, and it's good for its time. So 6 out of 10. I can see why it's a classic. I'm not particularly excited about it, but I enjoyed watching it with my parents, and it was a good like nostalgia thing for them. I knew that they enjoyed it. I feel like The Breakfast Club is a much more memorable John Hughes film, John Hughes. All right, so one more thing I'm going to talk about here. And I know this is going to be a weird thing to show on the screen, the title of this. So if you look this up on IMDb, XX Pony Boy Derek XX. What this is a internet play series on OnlyFans. And the reason why I knew about this is because I came across an article. I don't know if somebody sent me this article or if I got it recommended, but it was saying John Cameron Mitchell is creating a drama about a gay man on OnlyFans, a gay boy. Let's see if I can find that article because I know I posted it to my Twitter. Can somebody that knows how to do Twitter search better find it for me? I guess you can't post links in YouTube chat. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so I posted it to my own subreddit as well. So I found the article. It says, OnlyFans is getting a steamy original series from John Cameron Mitchell. And what I didn't know is that he didn't direct it, and he didn't write it. I guess he executive produced it. But I don't know exactly what that means when it comes to this film, series, play. So this is before it was even out, and this article is promoting it. Described as a boundary-breaking digital play fusing theater, film, and mixed digital media into an epic multi-week online event. and an incendiary coming-of-age story detailing how the internet distorts reality and leaves a mark on the young and online body. XX Ponyboy Derek XX follows an 18-year-old OnlyFans creator in real time as he explores a fraught path of autonomy, capitalism, sexuality, and survival amid the demands of physical commodification in a virtual world. The story is written by playwright Gage Tarlin, so I didn't read this far in the article. I got excited from the title. Yeah, John Cameron Mitchell. I thought he was directing it. And I saw in the article, it was promoted on John Cameron Mitchell's Instagram. And it's like, oh, okay, so he's promoting this. Okay, so I'm going to check it out. I like John Cameron Mitchell. He directed Short Bus. He directed Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which I have not seen, but I've heard really good things about it. Short Bus is a film that I've recommended, and we talked about it on Sardonicast, where the actors are actually having sex with each other, and that's like a part of the movie. It's not porn, but there's essentially porn in the movie. It's not like it's for the porn. Like it's not a movie that you're necessarily supposed to be like getting off to. But it's a movie that just doesn't treat sex and sexuality as a forbidden thing not to show. If you think about how human beings treat sex and sexuality, especially compared to every other animal on the planet, we create an exception. We hide these things. We come up with social taboos, and we put a very unique emotional weight on sex and sexuality. There's a lot of people who are triggered by it. There's a lot of people who are just scared of the concept, and we're all kind of just feeding into it, and we've decided that we don't want to be socially ostracized, I guess, for treating sex as not something to be scared of. And so Short Bus is a film that I really enjoyed because I don't think that sex and sexuality is something that people should be inherently scared of. It's just, it's a thing. It's a factual, normal human biological thing. And to include that in a film, I thought, especially with like a functioning narrative, and, you know, there's like a really great song and a really great sequence that uses the song. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually feeling emotions from this film. It's not like an exploitative gimmick. Short Bus is a solid narrative with good performances, and it cares about its characters, and they're also fucking, and it shows them fucking. And I think that's really cool. And I think that is a very risk-taking, special film. And so obviously with the concept of him being involved in this OnlyFans series, I was kind of excited for it to see what it was. So I created an OnlyFans account so that I could subscribe to this digital media play or whatever. And let's see if I can find on my profile how much I've spent on this, because it's a monthly charge and it was going on for like a bit. Let's see if it gives me this information. Do I have a history? Does it tell me my history on OnlyFans, or do they want not people to know how much money they spend on fucking OnlyFans people? Let's see. Account? Damn. Maybe I'll have to just check. I'll have to check my like credit card or my PayPal or my email or something. I bet in my email it'll tell me. Does it tell me every time I get charged? Because what was really annoying about this is it started out cheap and then they kept raising the price. It's this XX Ponyboy Derek thing. They kept raising the price. And I was like, okay, well, whenever it finishes, I'll just kind of like binge all of it. Because as it started out, it was super uninteresting and really lame. And I was like, okay, well, eventually this is going to turn into something, right? First of all, no nudity. So they're doing this whole thing on OnlyFans, no nudity. It's just like another movie, and the few points in time, like the first like 5 videos where he's like pretending to masturbate or whatever, it's just cringe, like obvious fake, like, oh, below the camera, like bad acting and nothing happening. I'm like, okay, well, my expectations were set kind of in a weird and inaccurate way, because you put John Cameron Mitchell's name on something and you expect that there'll at least be some nudity in it. And maybe that might excuse bad acting too. If you're like, okay, well, this is you don't get many actors willing to do like actual sex acts on OnlyFans for a dramatic project, right? So you have a smaller pool. No, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that. It was just people pretending to have sex with each other, and like a guy pretending to masturbate. And it was so fucking boring and uneventful and unspecial. OnlyFans, let's see. Yeah, what did the subscription start as? So I think I subscribed for like a few months or something. I don't know. It says I spent $22.48 on it at one point, and then they changed prescription price in November. Ponyboy Derek has changed prescription price from $9.99 to $14.99. So they changed it from $10 to $15. I don't know if that's Canadian or US, but so I guess I paid for 2 months, and then they changed the price. I started subscribing at the beginning of October. Then they changed the prescription price again right now. So this is why I remembered about the series and the fact that I didn't finish it, is at the end of December, XX Ponyboy Derek has changed prescription price from $14.99 to $50. I don't know, because then I go to the page and then it says, oh, it's over. As in, they ended the play and they're going to keep it up until March 31st, 2024. It'll remain online and accessible until that point. And I don't know if I don't know if the subscription price is actually $50 right now, but that's what it said in an email. It seems like I'm still able to access it right now, so I'm going to, I guess, give my editor my login for my OnlyFans so that they can like archive and see this. And just how stupid it is, and how bad it is, and how boring it is. It's so fucking boring. You scroll all the way to the fucking bottom. It's just like the first post is like some guy in a mask like, hey, I just turned 18. I hope you're ready for some content. And it's just like a twink. And he's like, oh, I'm a mask. And it's like, it's not even... It's it's not even like pretend sexy or anything. It's all just like really cringe. It's all just really cringe. There's no nudity. I guess he sucks on a dildo for a little bit. We're going to have a censored and uncensored version of this edit. Doing all these like, oh my God. Like the fucking Kubrick stare into the mirror, like my Adam shower face into the mirror in one of these poses. October 11th is the photo that I'm referencing, editor. You'll see that. And like for a production that's actually produced by somebody that I like, to just be an annoying twink kind of complaining into the camera and not really exploring anything meaningful, but kind of pretending to, and having no point towards this even being on OnlyFans. You could have just released this as like a YouTube film, honestly, or like fucking festival movie, but it's just, it's a gimmick. It's a fucking gimmick. And a lot of hype. Half of the posts are like, oh, I'm going to be doing this very soon. Yeah, dropping more info. I'm going to reward you with something huge. Dropping more info very soon on October 24th. I'm excited to announce my first ever collab video coming very soon, October 25th. October 26th. I've been working on a very cool new project that's different from most of my recent posts. I really hope you guys like it. October 27th, dropping my new project very soon. And so apparently half of it, like there's also a Twitter account and I think one other account. I don't remember. There's like a Twitter account. I think the Twitter account only exists to promote the OnlyFans. Maybe I'll scroll through that. Maybe somebody, if you're willing to waste money on this that costs more than fucking Poor Things or Godzilla -1 or any movie you could see in theaters right now, or fucking any Blu-ray you could buy for a single film, other than maybe like the 7 4K collector's edition or some shit. So 7N. If you're willing to spend a shit ton of money for no reason on something that is just not fulfilling and not meaningful and just bait, essentially, what's the fucking point of this? Scrolling through all this shit. Oh, I took photos of myself with a Polaroid. It's so pretentious. It's so pretentious and not meaningful in the slightest. Who cares? It's the most boring vlog ever. Oh, I moved to New York. Thanks, guys. Oh, I put on a skirt this time. You're not even exploring a character properly. And then some other character joins. It's like, oh, now 2 people are having sex with each other, but they're not even having sex. They're just pretending, and it's cringe. It's just bad acting and cringe and pretend sex posted on OnlyFans, and so it's basically a scam. Let's see if I'll play this video from November 22nd. The new character that he's having sex with shows up, and he's like, hold on.
Hey, bros. Not the face you were expecting to see, am I? We'll get used to it, fuckers, because this is my account now.
It's so bad. It's so bad. I don't believe a second of this. It's so cringe. Jesus.
Ponyboy Derek didn't realize what he was getting himself into, messing with the big bros. Well, that puny little faggot is about to find out. I might make him whine, whimper. I might show you guys. I might not. I might update you guys.
Wow, they're exploring BDSM now. How meaningful, how thoughtful. What? Who cares? Who gives a shit? This is so pointless, and I feel tricked. I feel tricked by spending any money on this shit. Apparently, there wasn't that many people that spent money on it. I was the first person to rate it on IMDb. Gave it a 1 out of 10. Because it's a fucking scam. It's a fucking scam. And then I don't have time to, like, who... It's all so meaningless. Every single video.
Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on here and say that I'm so sorry if I don't get to your message right away. I have like so much going on right now, and I've been having trouble like learning how to plan and prioritize.
Who cares? You're so boring. You're so boring. Jesus Christ. What are you even writing? The whole thing feels ad-lib. The whole thing feels like an obligatory, like, oh, I'm sorry. Like all those YouTubers that only ever post about like, oh, you know, I've got content on the way, but I don't make anything. You know, like fucking 3 months go by. It's just like, oh, I'm sorry. I will post something eventually. You know, who cares? What's the point of this?
Boy Derek.
And then he makes a promo video for the OnlyFans, December 7th. Like, ooh, now we're transitioning into like a professional production. Wow, it's a produced ad for the OnlyFans. And then yeah, there's some videos of him like pretending to jerk off. And then they repost, I guess, what seems like actual messages that they got. So there's a DM, December 13th. Somebody sends them, hey there, just a little confused why there's no nudity on the page. Explicit stuff forthcoming. And then I guess Ponyboy Derek responds, there is explicit stuff on here. And which I don't even know what that means. Like, there is? Like, what? As in, is he saying there is? Or he's like, what does that message even mean? I don't know what that response means. And then the other person says, there's literally no nudity. Not sure what kind of game this is. And I don't know why they reposted that, because it's a valid complaint. It's a valid complaint. And it seems like they managed to trick people that didn't even know that this was like a performance piece. Because for the longest time, it just existed as a page on OnlyFans that I guess the algorithm could have directed anybody towards, and especially with the Twitter posts. And only by the time they ended it did they change the description to say like, oh, this is a performance piece, right? I knew it was a performance piece because it was being advertised that way through that article. And I was paying attention to a director that I really liked that turned out to probably not have actually that much involvement with it. And then fucking like only a few posts later, and then it's just fucking done. And he's like, this is the ending.
Hey, you guys.
It's 8 minutes long.
Doing okay.
And he's essentially, so I watched this, and all he says is, so I went to the bathhouse, and there was this cute guy, and we had sex, and then after we had sex, he said, that was really good, pony boy. And then I felt really used, because it means that he knew who I was because of my OnlyFans, and he didn't tell me before having sex with me. So I quit. I quit OnlyFans now. And that's like that's the character arc. And it's like, it comes out of fucking nowhere. Comes out of fucking nowhere. Where's the development? Where's the drama? Where's the whole point of telling a story? You scammed people. This was a scam. This was an absolute fucking scam. And I'm pissed off about it. And if I wasn't talking about this, nobody would fucking know it exists. And yeah, so I'm going to give my login info to my editors and get them to download all of these videos, just and screenshot all the posts. There's not that many. It shouldn't be that difficult to just do. Just to archive all of it, because apparently they're going to remove the archive on March 31st, 2024. Yeah, it's fuck, and then I guess I'll make a backup of it. So yeah, they'll archive it. We'll use some clips in the video. There'll be an uncensored version of this video if you want to be on Patreon or members, because YouTube is going to demonetize me for, showing things like the dildo or the, some of the even conversations or whatever, the dialogue and blah, 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 the fake sex having and stuff. So, Patreon is where you get fully uncensored. Whereas YouTube members, I still can't break terms of service. So even if the video gets demonetized, I still can't show certain things. So maybe, I don't know. I'll have to see. I don't know if I don't know if a character sucking on a dildo is allowed. Anyway, cancer, scam, disappointment, cringe, terrible, fuck, mad, ass. I wonder if it was intentional that their final post was the 69th piece of media. There were 74 posts, 69 media posts. I wonder if that was intentional. But holy fuck, that sucked. And I'm so disappointed. What was the point? What was the point of any of this? Ugh. If you look at what is demonetizable, even censored implied sex acts are demonetizable. I had an entire gaming channel video demonetized because video game characters dry humped each other with clothes on. So, sorry, not my fault. It's YouTube's fault. Speaking of gaming channel videos, there's a new one out on the YMS Plays channel, which I am going to be streaming on very shortly for, I guess, a couple hours before I head to like a New Year's thing. So I guess, yeah, 1 out of 10 for this gigantic piece of shit. Couldn't be more disappointed. Maybe the most disappointing thing I've seen the entire year. What a waste of time. What a waste of money. That cost way more than a movie. Absolutely disgusting. And editor, remind me to send you screenshots of my email where they say they were changing it to $50 because it doesn't show that on the page right now. I just want just for evidence of them that having been a thing that actually happened. So remind me to send you screenshots of my email from OnlyFans. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my game stream, and as I'm playing the Talos Principle 2, since I only have a couple hours to do that, and I want to play something, I'm going to simultaneously read the super chats and stuff. So, yeah, join the stream at twitch.tv/YMSplays or youtube.com/@YMSplays. youtube.com/@YMSplays. That is where I will be streaming very shortly. I'm literally just gonna change the output. I think I can I start streaming can I stream? I can stream on 2 different YouTube channels at once, probably. I can start streaming there and raid myself, maybe. I forget how the rating system works. Let's try that. It's not a bad idea. And then was there anything else I wanted to do while I was still signed in here? Oh yeah, I want to open the tab of the super chats while I'm still signed into this account. What if God was one of us? I'm pissed. What an awful movie. I'm glad I got to talk about it. I'm so pissed. All right, let's see if I can raid myself. Let's see how that works. Oh yeah, I got to send the article to editors. And I also got to send them the audio recording. There we go. All right. Part 2. Why? Quickie Catchup 23, Part 2. Audio. Save, export. Okay. And then the other computer's turned on. And then, oof. Yeah, so only, okay. I can probably just start my Twitch stream. Talos Principle 2. All right. And so I will be reading all the super chats and answering them in the game stream. I just want to get that started. I only have a couple hours before I got to run, so Okay, now log into my YouTube on the YMS Plays channel. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to just search how to raid, because there is a way to do it. YouTube Studio. How to raid YouTube channel. Oops. Live stream. Find another streamer who is live on your second monitor to copy the stream URL and post it into your chat. That's 2 years ago. That's not what I do. They added a feature, right? Here we go. You have to choose to allow it. Live redirect. Okay, here we go. Right? Come on, come on. Tell me. Live redirect settings. Subscribe. What? All right. Create a live stream, edit customization. Under redirect, click add. Choose a premiere or search for another channel's live stream. Okay. Change who can redirect to you. Go to YouTube Studio. All right. And then settings, community. And then allow any creator to redirect to my content. Where does it say that? All channels can redirect to my content. There we go. Okay. Allows for channels to send their viewers to any of your live streams or premieres. Your content can only be selected for a live redirect if it's upcoming or in progress. Okay, cool. Save. And then I might as well I'll do that on my YMS channel later because I just signed into this other one. Okay, and now I can start, go live. I think I can do both streams at once. New Year's Eve, Talos, Principal 2, and chat readings. Monetization on. Ad frequency. I'll choose. Oh, wait, actually, let YouTube insert mid-rolls for you. On a game stream, I don't know. I don't know how it works. Whatever. I'll just see what happens. All right. So now I can start streaming on that channel, and I think it's just going to work. And then Botrix, I think, let's see, is Botrix logged in? Ooh, am I streaming to both? Am I streaming to both? Are we dual streaming? Yes, we are. We are streaming to 2 YouTube channels at once. Very exciting. Very cool. Now, to redirect to the other channel from this live stream. Yes, come on. Redirect to another channel. Redirect your live stream viewers. Create a live stream. Select edit, customization, redirect, add. Okay. How come it doesn't just give me the URL? Oh wait, stream settings? No. Show me the fucking URL of my... Why do I have to open a new tab and find it? All right. YMS plays. There we go. Beep. Excuse me. Hello. All right. Now I can redirect. And I will answer these super chats from the YMS thing on my gaming channel, okay? I just want to go there. Let's see how we actually do the redirect. Let's see. Scrolling. What? Is it under customization? Redirect. Add. There we go. No live or upcoming for my subscriptions. Search channels. Search videos from other channels. Okay. Here we go. New Year's Eve, Talos Principle 2. Perfect. Save. So now change is saved. So when I end the stream, theoretically it'll redirect to my gaming channel, I think. There's a posthumous Sparkle Horse album? Holy shit. Damn, I have not heard that. Thanks for letting me know, though. All right. Redirect. Let's see if this works. Bye, main channel YouTube. We're going to my gaming channel right now. Pin the message. That's where we're going. In case the redirect doesn't work. Bye-bye.